As the clock strikes 7, the vibes alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come one, come all, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the call. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. In a circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one.
Oh no, I'm glad they're over there.
little home.
Something they're done.
With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just feed the call. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Abe Kamara, and welcome to the Inner Cycle Podcast business segment. Today is Wednesday, March 19th. Tonight, we are diving into a powerful conversation about financial literacy, wealth building, and creating generational prosperity. We are honored to be joined by Karelle Macham, a licensed financial professional with a passion for helping families and immigrant communities build strong, sustainable financial foundation. With a background in the nonprofit sector, Karelle truly understands the unique financial challenges many immigrants face while navigating in a new country. She specializes in educating her clients on key areas of financial literacy, especially one that's often overlooked, life insurance. Karelle works closely with families to show how life insurance isn't just about protection, but also a powerful tool for building wealth, securing financial freedom, and creating generational wealth. Karelle, it's our pleasure to welcome you to Inner Cycle Podcast. And tonight we are joined by our two great panelists who are going to be learning from you. So I'll give my panelists the opportunity to introduce themselves, and then we'll get to you. Jerry, quick intro.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm using my headphone. I don't know if you guys can hear me okay.
We can hear you very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Jerry, and I'm a business owner and mom here in Minnesota, and I'm happy to be on here to learn from you today.
Yeah. Miss B.
Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Miss B, and you know I'm all about the business that pays me, and so I'm excited about the conversation tonight.
Okay, thank you so much to our great panelists. So, Ms. Karelle, the panelists and I will be, just learning from you. So you are the expert. So before we dive into things, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Abe. And hi to Jerry and Miss B. Such a pleasure to be here tonight, with all of you. And my name is Karelle Machum, as you guys can see on the screen. I'm originally from Cameroon, but I'm based in Dallas, Texas, And I will tell you for how long already? Maybe a little over 10 years already.
Okay.
So, just a fun fact about me. My first language is French. So if anyone is interested in learning French, let me know. But
Okay.
like I mentioned, I'm a licensed financial professional. And what I do, like you said, Abe, I educate families. And actually, I started, in the nonprofit. I will tell you this since the age of probably 17. I mean,
Mhm.
I know it was really young, right? But then I've always been a community person. So that's why when I saw the Circle podcast, and thank you so much again for the invitation. But when I saw this and I knew that, okay, this is a community, podcast, I was like, yeah, this is really where I belong, right? I feel like, okay, you are talking my language because since, the teenage years, I've always been this, community person. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how with the background on in law,
Sure.
human rights and diplomacy, that's how I actually started being interested also in where I was doing international development. I started getting some interest in
Uh-huh.
financial, right?
Yeah, okay.
Finances.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I am who I am right now.
Okay, man, you wear so many hats. You know what I mean? Things like that. You wear so many hats, but that's good, right? That's the beauty of our immigrant community, right? Wearing so many hats. But folks, you can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 817-600-1525 if you have any question for Miss Karelle, right? She got a lot of knowledge. She's really, really knowledgeable about her stuff. So please, uh have a question, you can call, you can put a comment in the chat. But so what's the motivation for transitioning into financial literacy, right? I mean, what's the motivation for doing what you do right now by being a licensed finance professional?
Yes. Yes, Abe, thank you again for that question. It's really interesting because actually I come from I will call it like let's just call it as it is. I come from a really modest family. I would
Yeah,
say even a poor family, right?
yeah, yeah.
So yes, we were like what, maybe probably eight
Hmm.
children to my
Hmm.
parents,
Okay.
and I saw really the danger of not being prepared. And I will tell you this from my dad. He had a great job. Like people would see the type of person that he was, an accountant, and be like, oh, sorry. Though people will see like an accountant and be like, oh, his life is set, right? So,
Hmm.
but then the way things just spiral out of control from my family,
Mm.
that's when I was like, you know what, if you don't have a backup plan, or if maybe you are not prepared I won't say like maybe all the circumstances, but at least as much as you can for the
Yeah.
circumstances ahead. Well,
Hmm.
you and your family, that's how you end up struggling, despite the fact that you were the greatest engineer or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's really the one of the motivations. So when I came to the United States, and I told you I worked in non-profit sector, I saw how the immigrant community, and especially the African community, also were struggling,
Mm.
even financially. And like I mentioned earlier, despite the career path
Yeah.
that people had, whether the people were working in nonprofit sector or engineering and so on, I knew that something is not right somewhere. Like there's a problem somewhere. How come we see people who are doing well, maybe in their 30s
Hmm.
and 40s, and maybe in the 50s and 60s, something, I mean,
Yeah.
something is not right somewhere. So
Yeah.
that's how actually the passion, started coming from my, the family story.
Well, I mean, that's a great story right there, right? It's like that's a challenge we face in our community, right? We got great careers. By the end of the day, right, when we are up there and things happens where there's nothing to rely on. So, Jerry, any question or comment for Miss Karelle? Jerry,
Oh, not at the moment.
okay. Miss B, anything from you?
So with that being said, I'm interested in you kind of figure you relate to your family, and so, but what is that thing that said, okay, I must start here? What was that thing that said, this is the first step I should take, and this is where I'm going to go?
So basically, what you're saying, if you can, I don't know if you hear her well, right? So it's like, what is the one thing, right? Even though the motivation, but I mean, what is the one thing that say, okay, this is what I want to do?
Okay. So hopefully, Miss B, I hope I got the question very right also.
Mhm.
One thing I knew is that living by, I mean, paycheck by paycheck is really not a life. That's the first lesson I learned from my, family history,
Yeah,
like I told you before. Yes.
yeah.
So that's when I knew that I want to be an entrepreneur. honestly with you, yeah, that's when I knew that even though I will, I mean, probably will have to get experience somewhere, right?
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
know I want to have a backup plan. I know I want to make sure that I have, like people will say, four-legged table, like that type of income stream, right? So that
Hmm.
if there's one side that doesn't work, you can rely on the other. So
Okay.
yes, so Miss B, I will tell you this. The first thing definitely would be, okay, what is the system where I am living? Because the
Sure.
African system is not the American system. So
Yeah.
I know we are talking mostly for people that are here, right? So
Yeah.
what is the system that we are working in? And then, okay, what are other income stream that I can generate? Yeah,
Sure.
despite, yeah, beside the regular whatever 9 to 5 that people have. Yes.
Okay. When most people hear about financial literacy, right? I mean, they don't fully understand it. How will you define financial literacy for our audience out there? It's like, especially like a lot of people in our community avoid, as I said, right? The reason why Cycle Podcast we have dedicated a day just to have just for business and finance is because it's a challenge. It's a huge challenge in our community for people to ready tune in or have interest in finance, right? So when you as
Mhm,
a financial professional, as a licensed finance professional, when people hear about financial literacy, what is that? How will you define it for our audience?
Well, you just made a great point, Abe. Yes, we don't like to talk about financial literacy, but the funny thing is this, is that all of us, we came, and I'm talking now for us, immigrant,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
left Africa for one reason. We
Mm-hmm.
left whatever country, we left for a reason, for greener pasture, right?
Yeah.
It's still it revolves around money,
Mm-hmm.
around finances.
Yeah.
So that's the funny thing. We all came here for better finances, but then, or better financial status, but then we
Yeah.
don't want to talk about it. It's really funny. But in general, what I would just say is like, I would say that financial literacy is just how can I define that? Really, I like to break down concepts so that
Yeah.
even the person who did not go like too far
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
school can really understand it. But I would say that is a set of principle that people need to understand to make sure that, okay, we are prepared not only for what is ahead, but also how I can better manage my money,
Mhm.
how I can make sure that I'm protecting my assets, how
Yeah.
I make sure that also even the children, my family is really set even for the future, right? So
Okay.
this is what we call about, like, financial literacy is not only about earning money. No, it's not only about earning money, but it's making sure that, okay, the money that I'm earning, I'm able to keep the money.
Okay.
I'm not, for example, losing that money, and I'm
Mhm.
able even to generate other sources to
Okay.
create, to make it grow. Yes. So for
Mm.
me, it's that set of principle that people need to understand to make sure that them and their family, they are really, on the safe side.
Do you think financial literacy then is the key to wealth building? I mean, you have to have some set of those principles that you just mentioned. You have to have those principles. Is it a key to wealth building? Financial literacy is it?
Uh, I'll just remind you of one thing. Alan Greenspan is the
Mm.
13th chairman, well, I mean, was the
Mhm.
13th chairman of the Federal Reserve, right?
Mhm.
And there
Mhm.
was something he said during the year 2000. That's when he was the chairman of the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
and he said something that for me today is really, I would say, like the motivation also every day.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that sentence, and he said that the number one problem in today's economy and generation is the lack of financial literacy.
Hmm.
So please tell me, Abe, if even do you know what the Federal Reserve is, right? So I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
need, I
Yeah.
mean, all
Exactly.
immigrants in America, we do know what the Federal Reserve is. So now let me tell you this. Let me ask you this question. If
Yeah.
Mr. Alan Greenspan, Mr. Greenspan is saying something like that, that is the number one problem.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should always we should pay attention to win any, of course, that means it's the key also to creating wealth.
Okay.
Definitely. Mhm.
So from your experience, then what's the most common misconception about financial literacy? Like people, I mean, what's the mistakes people make when it comes to money, right? I like to sometimes bring the conversations into money, right? Financial literacy is all
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
as I
yeah.
said, managing your money, not only going to 9 to 5 or whatever job you do, right? It's not only working, but trying to protect your asset, build wealth, and all those things. So, but what's the most common misconception folks have about financial literacy, about money, especially in
Mhm.
our community?
Yep. Thank you. From my experience, as you already know, yeah, I've talked to a lot of immigrants, a lot of
Hmm.
us, and whenever you bring the subject of financial literacy, people think always that financial literacy, the first thing is that, okay, it's about how much I make. Therefore, one mistake that most people do, and I will call now I would say like the upper middle class. So
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah,
who kind of, are making, for example, the six figures, most of the
yeah, yeah,
time they're like, oh no, I'm good because I'm set. So what actually they are saying is that I'm earning enough,
yeah.
right? To have
Hmm.
that kind of stability with my family. Like I have a house, I own a house, I have one or two cars, and so on. So this is how they interpret financial literacy. Now,
Hmm.
this is
Hmm.
for the upper middle class. Now, when we talk about, like let's say now the lower middle class,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm talking still about immigrant. Now, when
yeah,
we talk about financial literacy, the misconception sometimes that we have is that, oh, it's for wealthy people.
yeah,
I'm not there yet. You see, yeah, I'm not there
yeah,
yet. You know what? Let me focus on this, maybe my CNA, let me focus on the warehouse job that I'm doing. So
yeah.
it's really not for me. Maybe the time when I don't know, I'll get to the six figure, I will start getting interested. And also another misconception for now, I'm talking now about demographics. What
Hmm.
about the young people versus I don't know, the mature one? I will just call
Hmm.
it the mature ones.
Hmm.
Now, the younger, I don't know, generation in our community will be like when they hear about financial literacy, they're like, okay, I'm still young. I'm okay, I think during my 40s, that's when I'm going to start being interested in those.
Okay.
And they don't understand that is something financial literacy is about now because you are actually making informed decision that will impact your future. So
Okay.
whether you make a decision or not, guess what? You still made the decision because even when you don't try to learn, well,
Hmm.
you already made a choice not to learn and then to have some disability in the
Hmm.
future,
Hmm.
compared to your classmate or someone, to your mate who decided to start earlier.
When you're
So
working
those are
with, yeah, yeah, when
mistakes.
you're working with these different folks, right? It's like,
Mhm,
how do you navigate trying to convince them? Say, hey,
mhm,
man, this is really important. This is important maybe for your future. This is important for
mhm,
your growth.
mhm.
It's not only you just living paycheck by paycheck. How do you navigate, like trying to convince them to see where you are coming from, that you are trying to help them, right? Build
Mhm.
a sustainable, a strong financial foundation.
Yeah. Um, Abe, I mean, actually, that's a great question because I feel like sometimes every day is a kind of a challenge. I mean, our community, you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
us.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, it's every day. I will be honest with you. It's really a challenge, and this I would really is an opportunity also to make sure that around, United States, as
Hmm.
people are hearing us tonight, and maybe for those who will watch later on,
Yeah.
definitely this is a wake up call as well
Hmm.
because one thing I was kind of pretty young when I also came in America,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's when I'm able to appeal, those who are younger, who came here, who are still young, and I
Hmm.
always tell them taking my own story
Yeah.
because honestly, I did the same mistake, right? I was always when some people approach me to talk about, financial literacy, retirement, for example. I was like, oh man, I'm still young. Why would I think about retirement? You know what? For example, I would take an example of the 401k.
Yeah.
When I heard that it was, for retirement and so I was like, okay, I'm still young. So I guess, that 401k thing, please leave me with it. So I don't know. But, that's how I use my own story. I use the mistake that I did sometimes to appeal to some of them. And also as a married woman, I'm also able to appeal to people who are like more like mature, right? Because when you
Hmm.
already have those responsibilities, being, maybe are married,
Yeah.
whether you are the man or the woman,
Yeah.
married and then having children. So
Hmm.
you are able actually, to navigate those different segments of the society to be like, guys, look, I've been in your shoes, as a young person. Now, for people who are more mature, I'm like, okay, I'm in your shoes now as a mature person. But guess what, though? I wish I had started this one earlier, for
Okay.
example.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for that. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing financial literacy 101, and we have Miss Karelle from the great state of Texas, from the Lone Star state of Texas, giving us some great education, sharing her knowledge, sharing her expertise. So you can call our number 817-600-1525 if you have any question for Miss Karelle, or you can put a comment in the chat. Miss B, any question, comment from you?
Not repeating a question here, but I just want to know, like, what was the very first financial tool that you prepared yourself or armed yourself with?
Okay. Okay, so the very first financial tool, actually, let's if I want to touch the base on retirement. So, yes, Miss B, I started, even though I didn't understand at that moment what actually I was doing, but
Mhm.
for people, I would talk now about some portfolios that we have in America, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for me, I started, for example, with the 401k. But then when I understood, a few things, more better in terms of financial literacy, now I was more intentional because it's all about that, right? Being intentional on how you want to prepare, your future. That's when actually I would tell you. Then I talk about 401k, but actually I would tell that the first one was actually getting myself protected by owning, a life insurance policy. So yes, that was the
Well, I
first.
mean, it's like you brought about life insurance policy, in our community, that is it seems like a taboo. I mean, tell us more about this whole life insurance policy, right? Because even I mean, even me, as if someone bring life insurance topic to me, the first thing, I mean, like you said earlier, I'm still young. Why do I need life insurance and things like that?
Mm,
So tell us more about life insurance as a form of investment of, like
mm,
that folks need to learn about in terms of financial
mm.
literacy. Tell us more.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you so much. So Abe and Miss B, Jury, and for all our listeners on the call right now. So actually, financial I mean, sorry, we have talked about financial
Oh
literacy
yeah,
so
that's
much
what
that
it is.
now,
Yeah, yeah.
but now, I mean, like life insurance. Actually, yeah, many people do not know that is actually also an investment account. But first thing is an account. It's
Uh-huh.
just an account. It's an account just as, like your saving is an account. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like your 401k, is also an account. So the first thing that we need to understand is that life insurance is an account. Now, that account is also invested in some different, like portfolios, depending on the company that you get your policy with, right?
Hmm, hmm.
And a lot of people will not know that actually you can grow cash in your policy. You
Mm.
can grow cash in your policy, yes. And that's why our community is missing out on a lot on this. I would have loved, I mean, you and even you guys can check on Google. We have not only I'm talking about testimony, but I'm talking about icons in America,
Yeah.
such as McDonald's and others who have built actually their wealth or even part of their wealth using the cash value life insurance policies. Not all life policies are the same, but the one I'm talking about
Hmm,
actually
hmm,
is a great tool to
hmm,
build wealth, to
hmm,
transfer wealth, to
hmm.
protect also your assets.
How
Yes.
do you build cash? I mean, how does it? I mean, it's like, what's the process like? What's the like? If I need a life insurance to build cash, how do I start? Right? It's like,
Mm,
what kind of money are we talking about? Because a lot of folks in our
mm,
community, right, as you mentioned earlier, they don't make six figures. These are
mm,
folks, it's like, the CNAs, the folks
mhm,
working in,
mhm,
what a med device,
mhm,
factories, wherever, right? Our folks,
mhm,
not all of them are earning six figures and things like
mhm,
that. But where will folks start, right? Someone
mhm.
working, having a bigger job. Where
Yeah,
should they start?
yeah, of course. So that one, Abe, to answer that question quickly, I would just say that it would take to have a session with a financial professional
Okay.
as myself, really to understand, because just even for HIPAA purposes,
Mm-hmm.
there's some things that we cannot, like let's say like display like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it depends really on each person's situation and also the goal that the person wants to achieve. Why?
Okay.
Because the life insurance policies also serve as an income replacement account, right? So
Oh,
in
okay.
case something happens to the person, so it's not
Hmm.
only like, you are just growing cash, but also in our community, and you guys can see, even statistics have shown the Black community, and I'm not talking about only the immigrant, we are
Yeah.
more prone to diseases like like heart attack. I believe which one was it again? Stroke, I believe. This
Hmm.
is, yes, some in our community is becoming more and more frequent, things like that. And I've seen when you mention about people who are not making that much, but
Yeah.
I've seen even engineers, I've seen like lawyers that were affected by those diseases. And guess what? The family lives went from grace to grass.
Hmm.
So this is why I am out on a mission to make
Mm.
sure that my community is aware of this. What happened if you are not able, you are no longer to go to work? Because the only reason we are actually able to make, money, if we can say like that, yeah, for those who have the job and then we are going 9 to 5, or even those who are doing night shift or whatever shift we are doing, the only
Hmm.
reason we do that is because we are in good health. But what if you are actually unable to work, and then you
Yeah.
are on the bed, on the hospital bed for 1 month, 3 months,
Yeah.
six
Sure.
months, and more? What happened to your family? Those are the questions that we don't like to ask, but then we
Yeah.
need to ask ourselves those questions. You
Yeah.
see, yes. So the amount, please, Abe, and I want to say that to all our listeners, is not only for the rich people. It's not only for those who are making six figures. No.
Sure. Yeah.
Today, even as little as you have, it's always good to start early to save and take advantage of what we call compound interest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's great. I mean, the other thing you brought, the other dynamic or or the other angle you brought into this, right? Health equal wealth, right? You have
Yes.
to have good health. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So health equal wealth, and that's what the whole segment about. So
Mhm.
tonight, folks, I'm surrounded by three powerful ladies. Miss Karelle providing us some great education, and then Miss B and Miss Jury. So we are discussing financial literacy 101. Miss B, question from you or any comment?
So, what do you say when somebody says, "Well, that's great and all. I don't believe in that. I'm just gonna put money in my savings account, right? I've done the math, and I feel like if I save this amount of money in my savings account, I'll be able to retire off of just that." And so, how do you deal with those type of arguments?
Mm. That's a great question, and thank you so much, Miss B, for bringing that up. Actually, my goal, because we need to be clear about something here,
Hmm.
my role is not to advise, if I would say,
Hmm.
or convince people in making any, a certain type of decision.
Yeah.
As a financial professional, because I'm not a financial advisor, but a financial professional, licensed financial
Yeah.
professional,
Hmm.
as I educate, and I just let people make informed decisions. So whatever decision they want to go with, at the end of the day, the decision remains theirs, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, actually, I let people understand also the impact. When I talk to you about the financial principle, some people will not understand that there are some accounts in America who has, for example, management fees, those who do not have management fees. Now, how inflation affect us? Oh my goodness, every day I'm hearing conversation about how things are getting expensive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone is complaining. Oh,
Yeah.
the chicken that used to be this amount is now this amount. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, the water that used to be this amount is now this amount. Oh my.
Yeah.
And every single day, I keep hearing complaints after complaints and after complaints. But
Yeah.
then the sad things about my community, about the African community, is that we complain and then we just remain on the status quo. So that's just what I'm trying to bring people out of it. So guess what? It's good about your saving. Now you need to ask yourself the question: how much does your saving bring that up? Now the inflation rate in America hovers around 3%. Sometimes it's even more than 3%. But on
Hmm.
average, let's just put this, it's like 3%. So now,
Hmm.
how I would just ask to the person, how much return does your saving account brings you? Is it 3% at least? Because it
Hmm.
doesn't, guess what? The money that you have in your saving is decreasing, is valued by 3% every single year.
Hmm.
Now, please tell me again, after 10, 20, 30 years, how do you think you will actually be, better off, with that saving account that has lost its value by 3% every single year? So, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's just like this conversation. For me, it's not about convincing someone, but it's just having the conversation. And at the end, you still have to, the decision is yours or to the person. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for drawing that distinction, right? Wherein like you're a licensed finance professional, but not a financial advisor, and you're not giving any kind of a financial advice tonight. You are just trying to educate our folks, it's
Mhm.
like to make, as you said, make an informed financial decision. I believe, as you stated earlier, financial education is the greatest education ever. And I think that's
Yes.
what we need to do in our community to teach our kids, you know, um, every aspect of finance. Because once they
Mhm.
understand it, I think they can make informed
Mhm.
financial decisions. But so, folks,
Exactly.
you can join the conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 817-600-1525. As a finance professional, do you talk about, as you are educating folks, do you bring about anything about budgeting, about savings, what are the different techniques, right? Like you approach folks with. I know when you come into these conversations, you have to come, you know as you said, trying to understand that situation, you also got to know,
Yes.
right? Where do they
Yes.
stand financially?
Of
Yeah, yeah.
course, yes. And this is one of the tools that actually I use as a financial professional. I do what we call a financial needs analysis, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yes, actually, because each person's situation is unique, for
Mm-hmm.
real, it's really is unique. So that's why whenever people come, I always tend, and I'm really open about it. There's some level of trust that we need to have. The person has to be open and then share, whatever they are going through. Now, again, like I said, I'm not giving any advice, but then I can suggest to people, okay, this is some maybe budgeting tools that are available even
Mm-hmm.
online, and
Mm-hmm.
that you can start using, right? But in let's talk about savings. I most of the time say to people, okay, what are the different instruments that you use, for example, to save? And
Yeah.
now going from there, we can see among what the person has, if they are also alternatives that can give them like a better return, because we are not just saving for the sake of saving, we are
Yeah.
saving with purpose, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually one thing that I do.
Okay. So I know, we try to draw a distinction here, right? And a commenter want to know the distinction, I guess, she want. I mean, you are the expert here, so I'll let you chime in. I can also do that, but you are the expert. I'll let you chime in here, right? She wants to know the difference between being a licensed finance professional versus a financial advisor. Can you, please help us draw that distinction for her, please? What's the difference between the two?
Okay. Oh, and I think this is because I saw the Amanda.
Yeah,
So hello, Amanda, and thank you for the question. Well, I actually the license that I have as as a financial professional, I
yeah. Hmm.
mentioned earlier, is just to educate you. Educate you on what? Educate you on the financial principle, first of all, of I mean, like let's say the financial system in America that is here in America,
Hmm.
also understand how money works in America, and
Okay.
how money works in America, and how you can protect your family if this is what the aspect that you want, or I help you understand the different portfolios that you have. For example, in America, we have things. I would just list some of the portfolios that we have here. For example, checking, saving, 401k, certificate of deposit, RA, Roth RA. And by RA, I mean individual retirement account. So those are
Yeah.
retirement accounts. We do have things like stocks, right? People have some stocks as well.
Yeah.
And for those who have children, they tend to have also what we call college fund, uh, or we call it in technical terms the 529 accounts.
Yeah.
So these are just some. A lot of people, we have talked about insurance here, but we have not also talked about annuities, because
Yeah.
some people also don't know about annuities.
Mm.
But anyway, so this I educate people on those different accounts, how you can better take advantage of it, how you can make sure, for example, if you want to go in retirement with this type of amount, okay, what are the different instruments that you can use to make sure that, okay, I want to retire maybe with $2 million, for
Mhm.
example. Okay,
Mhm.
what are the different instruments that you can use to make sure that, or at least that it can happen, within a certain, within certain conditions. But
Okay.
now the financial advisor actually is the person who will most of the time make, I would not say like recommend, I mean, I want to say like recommendation, but maybe if you want to have a specific product, let's
Yeah.
say like that, yes.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
example, maybe stocks,
Yeah.
maybe let's say, I don't know if I would say like RA, yes.
Yeah.
So actually they will help you go to that, like link you, okay, with this company. And most of the time they are working also with a specific company. So they
Yeah.
will tell you, okay, now with our company, this is what we are doing and so on. But me, I'm an independent contractor. Therefore, I'm able to balance all the companies that are out there and to tell you and to let you know, okay, which one maybe is best for the goal that you have, maybe which
Okay.
one is this for this goal, specific goal
Mhm.
that you have, so on and so on. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's come to the life insurance aspect. I mean, let's come back to the life insurance. What are the different type of life insurance products out there these days?
Okay, so I will just to simplify it, I will just actually summarize those in four types in
Yeah.
general.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have the group life. The
Mm-hmm.
one that one is mostly offered through the job. So when people tell you that I have life insurance with my job, they are mostly talking about group life, even though they don't know that this is
Oh,
the
okay.
time that they are talking about. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have also the second type, we call it term life insurance. So that one is temporary, right? So you will have things like for it's maybe for 10 years, 10 years, 15, 20, or 30 years.
Okay.
And we have the whole life
Mm-hmm.
that could cover people up to maybe 100 years and so on. And we also have the index universal life insurance.
Yeah.
So those are like the four types that I can, yeah.
So it's like, I mean, a lot of folks, right? I mean, 90, I would like to say 99.9% of us here is like most of us work, we have jobs, we have 9 to 5 jobs. And sometimes once folks have insurance at their job, they say, you know what, I got insurance. I got the group, like the one you point to, right? I have insurance, I have life insurance at my job, right? Which is the group insurance. Is that
Mhm.
enough? Is that can I take that? So you know what, I'm covered, I'm good. You know what, Miss Karelle, I don't think I need you as a licensed finance professional. I have insurance at my job, I'm good. What will you say to folks like me who's thinking that way?
Okay. All right. So thank you, Abe, for that. Well, first of all, for those who have even group life insurance, I congratulate you. Good job, because it means that actually you care about yourself, you care about your family, your loved ones. So I congratulations to you. Now, is that enough? To in all honesty, because I have actually to go by my license, right? No, it's not enough, unfortunately, because the group life insurance is really specific and is tied to the job that you are.
Mm,
Therefore, it has a lot also of disadvantages. For example, as the moment you leave that job, you are subject to losing that type of that coverage
mm,
specifically.
uh,
Now, Abe, if you remember earlier, I told you that life insurance is also serves also as an income replacement account,
yeah.
meaning that in terms, for example, of critical and chronic illness. So if in any case, anyway, you have maybe I mean, not you, but like if someone, right, has a cancer, end-stage renal failure, Alzheimer's, stroke, heart attack, and so on. So actually, the person will receive money and up to 90% of the death benefit. So for those
Okay.
who are, for example, have, I'll just give an example for those our listeners to understand better. And please, when I'm saying like that is because I own one, I mean, mainly myself, right? So if you have a, let's say, $1 million policy, and then after the person is diagnosed with cancer, you are eligible to receive up to $900,000, right? While you're still alive, not once you are dead is given to your beneficiary. No, while you are still alive. Therefore, unfortunately, the group life insurance, which is the one that is given at the job, does not have that option. In
Really?
case you ever, yes, in case you
Wow.
ever get sick, you ever got cancer, you ever got those chronic or critical illness right now, you are not able to perform two of the daily living activity. Let's say for whatever reason, maybe due to an accident, you're not able to eat by yourself or dress by yourself. Those are what we call also chronic condition, right? So you, in case you have, a life insurance with living benefit, you will be eligible to receive up to 90%, like I mentioned before. But with the group life, no, you cannot.
Okay.
Yes. So those are
Uh,
just some disadvantage. But if, for example, the
yeah,
listeners here
we'll
want to
get
have
into some
more
of those
information.
specifics, right? Because I think you just brought up conversation as an eye opener for a lot of folks. Because a lot of folks only have that group life insurance, which is the insurance at their job. And you
Mhm.
telling me there are a lot of disadvantages to that. So I think that's an eye opener. I mean, even for me here, right? And I think for a lot of our folks listening. Miss B,
Yes.
any question or comment from you?
You know, I've been having my policy since 2005, right? When I was in college.
Yeah.
Didn't have no kids, was not married, nothing, right? I had my policy. And even then, I wish, if you think 20 years, if I had been fully educated on that tool, man, I can just imagine what I would be doing around here with some of those
Oh,
resources. You know,
yes.
that's how long I've been having my policy. And
Mhm.
at that time, I got a mix of term and whole, right? But still,
Mhm.
not even fully educated
Mhm.
about what the tools are. And that's some of the things, unfortunately, with having African immigrant parents, when they're not fully educated in a lot of these
Mhm.
different resources or tools, right? And so had I had more knowledge, especially your expertise, I can just imagine what I would be able to do now. So for me, I'm beyond the life insurance and how valuable it is and the importance of not only just the adults but the kids. I don't know if
Yes.
we've got to that yet tonight, but the kids having their policy as well. And for me, you said something about annuities, and so I'm really interested in what that is. And when we talk about the 401k and the stock and looking at stock market and all those things that are happening right now. So I just had a bunch of questions I just threw at you. But for me, the next question I want to ask is annuities. If you can just educate us more on something on annuities, that's new.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Thank you again, Miss B. So annuities in general, it's true that it is included in the category of insurance products, right? But then it's more also of a retirement account,
Mhm,
actually.
mhm,
So for those who have, for example, 401ks, let's talk about like old 401ks.
mhm,
Those people can actually roll over, so that means you are not contributing anymore. Let's think about that.
mhm,
You used to work for this company,
mhm.
some years ago. You left that company, you left your 401k, and then it's sitting there. And then every time that the market is going down, you're just losing money because you're not contributing anymore to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people actually what they can do is that they can roll over
Mhm.
the funds they have there to an
Yeah.
index annuities account. And guess
Okay.
what? By doing so immediately, because this is one thing that I want also to put up out there. By the way, for annuities and for example, life insurance, you are guaranteed that you will never lose money. And if for those who on the call who know Warren Buffett, who is one of the well-known investors on the planet, the number one rule of money that he mentioned is to make money but never lose money. So every time that you're thinking about investment, you need to think in your head, okay, am I losing money there or am I earning? All right, am I saving
Mhm,
that money? So
mhm,
therefore, by opening an index annuities account, you are guaranteed that you will never feel the downfall of the market. You will
mhm,
never go negative, for example, and then it gives you return above inflation rate. That's one thing. So, Miss B, that is also, I mean, and of course, for those who ever hear about, maybe probate court, it bypasses probate court.
mhm.
So, of course, for those who are interested in annuities, it's not only about rolling over, funds from 401k, but if also, but I know that a lot of people in our community, Abe mentioned that earlier, are not six-figure earner. So they might not be able to have like a lump sum of money that they can just put in there, and to open an annuities. But that's something that they can do too. Yeah, for those who have the means.
So my follow-up question to that, when you say open an annuities, is there a minimum that you have to put in there?
So yes, it did not there is a minimum but then it depends also on the company. So there's nothing like set in stone. Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a great conversation. You're already a good expert, and that's why we need our community. We need experts like you, not just to sit in the background, right? Because a lot of educated folks, knowledgeable folks like you in this great community, in this great United States, just like to sit in the background and not come, and to educate our folks. So great information here tonight. But I think Lauren here is asking, I think he's referring to the life insurance, right? Policy. Can you change
Mm,
policy? If I have, let's assume I have group insurance at my job, can I say,
mm.
you know what, maybe I don't need that? Can I go and get my own policy? Or can I maybe work with my job to change it? Or, you, I mean, I think that's what he's trying to ask her, right? Can you change your policy?
Okay. Thank you, Lauren, for the question. Actually, it depends. Sometimes you can, and other time you cannot. So it depends sometimes on the type that you have, and also what you are trying to change it
Mm-hmm.
to. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's this thing that we call the 1035 exchange, which
Mm-hmm.
is it's actually the, I don't know, the procedure that we go through when you're trying to exchange, the policy. Yes. So, but then you need to be, and those are the things that during the session, right, during the conversation, we talk about it for those
Mm-hmm.
who are already have a policy, and
Mm-hmm.
now they find something that is better. Yes. Or maybe that could serve their purpose, better. Like Miss B mentioned, she had a policy like way by way. So the goal of that policy is probably not the goal of today, right? Or the
Oh,
purpose is not
all right.
today. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying that, as also the purpose or the goal changes. You can change policy, but it really depends on the type. There are some where you cannot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one of the thing too, right, is like when folks hear about especially life insurance, so it's like, am I ever going to get money out of that? Is it a scam? Is it, because our community folks are really skeptical, right? Is as I
Oh
said,
yes.
it's
Oh
like
yes.
trying to change that mindset again,
Mhm.
right? I come back to the whole thing here about the reason
Mhm.
why we dedicated Wednesday just for fun, just for business and finances, because folks in our community, I said, this is a conversation they don't like to or they don't want to have.
Mhm.
So it's like
Mhm.
when we are meeting clients and trying to get clients. What are some of the challenges you face in that? I mean, in those conversations, it's like, are they skeptical? Is this a scam? Is this real? Should I invest in this? Am I going to lose money? Am I going to get my money back? I mean,
Yes. Oh no, this is a great question. Thank you. Definitely, like I mentioned, our community. Yes, there's a lot of skepticism in the community. People are skeptical, and I do not, for real, I do not judge anyone. I do not condemn anyone because, of course, Miss B mentioned earlier, we left Africa with, with a certain mindset, and also the way we see things happening over there, and then we come here, and the American system, allow me to term, is sometimes so brutal that the moment you land feet in America, you just know that, okay, I need to chase the dollar. And then we are just running there, chasing the dollar, chasing the dollar. We don't realize at some point, actually, okay, what am I doing with the money that I've been getting so far? But then, yes, the challenge is really definitely skepticism. And is that cultural shock, right? Because
mhm,
even we are talking always about the cultural shock, but we never talk about the cultural shock in finances, right? Because the way we handle finances in Africa, I will tell you this. And for those of you in the call, if there are any people from Cameroon, and I'm pretty sure also other countries are doing that I hear. In Cameroon, we have something we call jangi, but what it is in general is just the fact that many people is like all, us on the call for, and then we agree on putting money every 2 weeks
Susu,
or maybe
susu is
every
what we know.
susu. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is in other country they call it susu, exactly. So you see, that is one, I mean, powerful instrument in Africa, right?
mhm,
Or maybe
mhm,
at
mhm,
least for lower middle, I mean, class, families. But does it? I mean, and I'm not saying, please, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. But I've seen people who are basing their savings and even sometimes their future solely on that. Why I'm congratulating people for doing something like that, but then you have to think yourself: will it beat inflation? Will it help me to keep up with inflation? Will what if I get sick and I'm not able to contribute to my susu?
mhm,
What happens if I'm not able to contribute to my susu? That means what? That I'm not getting that income anymore, that salary, that paycheck. So what
mhm,
happened now with my family? Does the
mhm,
money you contributed to your susu will be enough to sustain yourself, sustain the lifestyle of your family? So
mhm,
those are the questions. So now, like you mentioned, is that cultural shock that sometimes I face as a challenge, and also the people that are being skeptical, and for the aspect of the scam.
mhm,
Yes, and for our listeners on the call, yes, yes, and again, yes, you can take out money from your life insurance, and again, the right type of life insurance, because I said it before, not all life insurance are created equal. So, from the right type of life insurance, and that's why it's important to sit with a financial professional. You can take out money from your life insurance, but and again, it's not a scam. It is not a scam. Yes. And there are a lot of things that on the podcast like this, we will not be able to,
No,
talk
no.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely, yes. There are resources that I can provide to people, maybe during session that could show them. That
Yeah, I
is
mean,
really.
definitely. I'm glad you brought that up, right? Is the thing real quick, first of all, I don't think we brought this up in the beginning, but do you own your own? You say you are independent contractor, so do you own your
Yeah.
own agency? Do you have your own agency?
Yeah, well, I work on under the umbrella
Okay.
of of a general company, but yes, I'm independent.
So yeah, so at the end of the show, we will try to share your contact if folks interested in life insurance and things like that, right? In our community, and anyone is interested, they can definitely reach out to you. Because I said, folks like you should not sit in the background; you should be in the forefront, right? Mostly in our community is the noisy minority making all this noise. Professional like you just sit in the background and don't come forward to provide great education. Miss B, anything from you?
I
So
just,
I have a
in case
question
some
real
folks
quick.
have, oh, go ahead,
Okay,
Jerry.
okay, okay. Go ahead, Jerry. Jerry, you froze there. Okay, Miss B, go ahead.
Just one more time, I like the fact you mentioned two things that we can put, two places we can put our money, or two instruments we can put our money in and never lose. Because, I'm always talking about stocks. I'm not big on the 401k. And so I just wanted you to kind of elevate that again and remind us, what are those two things? And, how can one start to begin to invest in those two things? People
Okay.
like to hear minimum numbers, at least, what is, a somewhat of a number that people can start with.
Okay. Um, well, if I have to say, I mean, you mentioned the two things. So the two things actually, when I say that people can invest in and then they are never losing money. By the way, Miss B, what you mentioned about how with the stocks, sometimes, up and down and everything, please, for all our listeners, our country is going also through, a critical moment, right? And I'm not here to talk about politics, but I'm just saying that is a fact that we don't know how the stock market will behave in the
Mhm,
next, few years. We do not know. And
mhm.
there's no one, like, even, I don't know, like financial analysts or whoever, who will tell you that, okay, we know for sure, because no one know.
Yeah,
Monday, you wake up and then it's up. Tuesday, before you sleep, it's already down, and then tomorrow morning is the same thing, and so on. So we
yeah.
really don't know. Therefore, it's really critical for our community to be on the safe side and make sure that, okay, even if I want to gamble over there, I also have something on the side where I know I'm not losing money over there. And
Mhm.
the two main instrument, or if, I won't talk maybe about the third one, but the two main is annuities and, for example, life insurance. Now, for life insurance, you can start. Again, I mentioned that you can. It depends on. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry. Give me
No, no,
just
yeah,
one.
you go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Folks,
Okay.
and tonight we are discussing financial literacy 101. We have Miss Karelle here from the great state of Texas, the Lone Star State, educating us, giving us some great financial education. Go ahead, Karelle.
Yes, I
Continue your
just
thought.
received an urgent
Yeah,
message, so I just had to read.
yeah.
So I was just saying that for the insurance, again, it depends on the number of factors. For example, the age of the person, and that's why, Miss B, I told you that the specific number is going to be hard to say, because you mentioned earlier the children. Of course, people can get such account even for their children, and there are some parents that are using it as a college fund. By the way, with that, not only your child is able to grow money with it, but then his contribution will always be as if he was a child, right? Even when
Mhm,
he will get 30, 40, and so on, it will still be like as if he was a child.
mhm.
Now, so even for children, people sometimes can go as low as, maybe $70, $100, yes. So it really depends sometimes on the age also, and the type of, or the amount of the coverage that you want to have. So
Okay.
all these are really factors in. But know this, again, I always say again, is for everyone. Really, people don't need to make like six figures. And sometimes I know that we are scared when we hear about instrument like that. Oh, it's for the rich people. No, it just take to make a bold step and to come and talk with the financial professional. By the way, also most of these financial professionals are offering some type of session, some this session even sometimes for free.
Sure,
But I'm
sure.
sometimes paying to see that my community is not taking advantage of this.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, the thing about it, right? Miss B brought up about the stock market, and you are right, right? There's a lot of, first of all, the stock market is gambling. If you are not financially literate, right? Where we're talking about financial literacy here tonight. If that's not your strong suit, please don't go and be a day trader because that stuff is that you go into the casino. You might 1 minute it might be up, the next minute it might be down. So that's where I think you might need a financial advisor, or as a commenter, Amanda said here, 401k. But we'll get to that, right? But some questions here from you, right? It's like, thanks to Medium for educating us on such a good topic relating to financial literacy. What resources, books, workshops, online courses have been most effective, right, in improving financial literacy? If you can just mention a few.
Okay. Uh, 1 second here. I want to make sure that I'm giving you with the name of the.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of, obviously, right? There are a lot of resources out there.
Yes, there are
If
a
you just,
lot. There
yeah, a
are
lot
a
of,
lot.
I mean, these days, right? There are a lot of things out there, but anyone you can, I mean, one or two, you are the expert here, right? If you just
Yes,
get
yes.
in it, yeah.
Yes. So one thing, actually, I forgot the name of the person, but one thing that one
So,
book, for example, that you
solo,
can get.
solo,
Solo.
solo.
Yes, thank you,
Mm,
Solo.
mm,
Yes, Solo. One book, for example, that you can get is a book from Jake Thompson. Is one of the number one bestseller in America, by the way. And his book is the title is Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. And there he shows how the wealthy are using. And when I'm talking about wealthy, not only wealthy people, like the icons that I mentioned in America, whether it's
mm,
McDonald's,
mhm.
the Rockefeller, and so on. So he mentions how those big people, big names, actually use life insurance also to build generational wealth. But
Yeah,
also he talk about banks and companies who own life insurance. And that's one thing that people will not know, because we are always scared, oh, is it a scam and so on. But let me just come back quickly, please, if you allow me, Abe, to
no,
just
no, go
come back.
ahead. Mhm,
Those companies, like for example, insurance company, have been here, some of them for more than 100 years.
mhm.
So I want to ask this question. We all have, I know all of us in this call, we have a bank accounts. And most of our banks have been there for maybe 20 years, maybe 25 years. But then we trust them. You see the funny thing, we
Yeah,
trust them. Why and sometimes when we go and then we open the bank account there, we don't really think about, okay, how long has this company been there? What is the credibility? Sometimes we just hear, oh, Miss B told me that, oh, do you know this bank? This bank is so great. Guess what? My sister, you should come and then open your own bank. And then because she's my friend, I just go to do it. Abe, tell me that is this, right? But
mhm,
then when it comes down to something that will help us for our future, for our retirement, for our children's future, and so on, then we think about scam, why these companies have been existing even way longer than our own banks. So
yeah,
this is a great book. And also, yes, Abe mentioned, if there's more, I mean, definitely you want more, there's also the Power of Zero,
yeah.
another book, another great book that you resource that you can have. And
Sure.
my contact will be shared. So for those who want even more information and more resources, I will share with you.
Yeah, I mean, what will you say to folks, right? I mean, we got more question coming here. Folks got more question for you, but just a quick one here. Right? What will you say to folks who say insurance company don't like to pay claims? I know you mentioned earlier if someone has like $1 million policy and then maybe you say you get terminal illness, you get you $900,000. But the truth of the matter is, right? Even like folks that have car insurance, auto insurance, or some
Mhm,
type of insurance, insurance company do not like to pay claims. What's the
mhm.
difference with the life insurance?
Oh, that's really a great question. And thank you for bringing that up. Well, because actually, one thing, guys, now I'll just be, I don't know if I was sarcastic, but then even though we have had this issue sometime with our insurance, I know car insurance and so on, we have not stopped paying the car, but then I'm just joking here,
No,
guys.
no, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
then,
No, but
right.
instead,
So,
instantly though, right?
Say it. It's the truth. We still
Instantly,
pay it faithfully every month.
yeah, yeah. But instantly, yeah, you are forced to pay because that's the law, right?
but
It's
that's the
like,
law. Yeah,
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 that's
yeah,
what I'm saying. That I'm
yeah.
joking, right? But honestly, the Abe mentioned something earlier, and I love it. most of the professionals are on the back seat and then they don't come forward. Therefore, who come forward is just the mouth to mouth conversation, right?
Yeah.
So those the bad experiences are getting louder, I don't know, are getting louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
Why those good experiences, people will not share it? Have you noticed that whenever we want to leave a review, most of the time it's because people have done something bad to us? Like maybe we had a horrible experience with this company, and then we are like, I'm going to make a review for that. You see, we are so eager to do the review because we are so mad. But whenever it's good, even when maybe let's say that I had a wonderful experience with Jury, and then she said, please leave me a review, I tend to forget. That's just how human beings are. We
Okay.
tend to remember the bad experience and then forget the good one. With that being said, now that's why it's important, Abe, actually to sit down with a financial professional, someone who has really knowledge of
Mm-hmm.
what they are doing. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, people will be like, I've not been getting paid or something when I did the claim, or maybe for this of my sister, because most of the time it's not for you. But people do not understand what is the type of insurance that you got. For example, term life insurance. Let me just give an example about it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, this is one thing that happened with term life insurance. If you miss only one contribution, I like to call it contribution and not payment. Why? Because I believe you are saving for your future. But in term life insurance, we can even call it payment, because you are not saving for your future. You are just saving maybe for those who will live behind you, because that one will not help you most of the time if you are sick. So therefore, most of the time, unless you get the one maybe that has added riders with it on it, but most of
Mm-hmm.
the time it's just the regular one. Is just that, so when you die, the family will get paid.
Okay.
This is the issue now. We had a case like that. We had this person. She had life and term life insurance for a while now, maybe like Miss B for
Mm-hmm.
a long time. After maybe more than 15 years of contribution, she got sick. When you are sick and you are on the hospital bed, do you really think about bills? Because you are fighting for your life. You are not thinking about bills. You are thinking about how can I even be better, right? Unfortunately, that's exactly the moment where the insurance company had to withdraw money and there was no money in the account. Therefore, it declined. The moment it declined, guess what? When you miss only one payment, again, I repeat that, for those who have sometimes term life insurance, the policy cancel.
Wow.
Few months after the lady died, the family called the insurance company and then asked made the claim, and for the insurance company to tell them, we are sorry, she missed the contribution, she missed the payment 2 months ago, and the policy has canceled. I mean, it was 2 months, like a few months ago, the
Mm-hmm.
policy has.
Mm-hmm.
The family get nothing. How long does that lady contributed? For more than 15 years that she has contributed. But now you see, the family is getting with like nothing, zero, nada. Again, people will be like, insurance companies are scammers. No, they have different products, they have different types of life insurance. Which one do you want? Which one will serve the purpose, the goal that you have, the one that you want for your family? You see, so it's not
Yeah.
about scamming. It's that it's really about what being educated and making informed decision. Yes.
Okay. Wow. That's a good one. I mean, that's a good one right there. Thanks for that education. But before I bring, I mean, first of all, let me let our audience know, right? This is a 1 hour show, but the information you're providing here tonight will drag you a little bit because the question are coming in hot, and then I know Miss Jerry has a question, Miss B has something on her mind as well. So we'll let you take a few more and things like that, and then we'll try to, wrap it up. Miss Jerry, question from you.
I'm sorry, guys. I finally made it home. I was at my
You're
kids'
good.
swimming class.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, from an understanding with the cash value life insurance, right? I know a lot of the times we love to see it as an investment tool and a
Mhm.
way to save money. However, most of these insurance, from my understanding and my experience, is set up in a way where someone gets to save the money within that insurance. However, when it's time to take the money out, it's taken out as a loan plus
Mhm.
interest.
Mhm.
And if you don't pay that money back, it go against your death benefit that's supposed to pay out to your family. And
Mhm.
also with the term insurance, from my understanding, they have like 10 years insurance, 15,
Mhm.
and I think 30.
Yeah,
So
30. Mhm.
yeah. So if we're gonna use this and educate people, what do you have to say to that? How do you advise people what's the best way to go about it?
Oh, okay. Wow, Jerry, thank you for the question. Uh, Hopefully I've not forgotten the first one. But maybe let me start with the last one. So about educating, let's say about the term life insurance, I will just say this, and it comes back again to the purpose that you have. Most of the time, I would say when you get a term life insurance, I often say to people, sometime and it's the person's decision, but it seems like, in my opinion, the person is gambling with his own life. Why? Because most of the time, it's like you are giving a time frame to the insurance company. Within that time frame, you are supposed to die if you want your family to get something. So that's why when I joke to people, I say like, you know what, term life insurance for people who are really good in math. My husband is a math, I mean, was a math teacher. So I'm like, oh, probably, I guess, because you probably, with all the equation you have made, you know when you are going to die. Maybe God has revealed that to you. I don't know. But then sometimes we pray for long life and we want, because you know, the max that they can give is 30 years. Now, this is the thing, Jerry. You were 30, maybe when you got your policy, or maybe 35 when you got the term life policy, and you took it for 30 years, and then you are like, okay, I'm set. All right. By most of those companies, by age 60 or 65, they won't accept, they won't accept you anymore. And that's why they are not crazy to offer term life insurance, right? Because by that time, now you are praying also, God, that I want to have a long life, because you see these children, they are still little. I want to have a chance to raise them up and then to see my grandchildren. Then God grants you your, I don't know, your prayer, the answer your prayer. Here you are now at 65 years old, 60 years old. You have to, or 65, you have now a choice. You either let your policy then cancel, because of course the policy is come to the term, it was 30 years, and then that means that you are losing all the money you have contributed there, or you want to renew. One thing that why people go for term life insurance is because it's really, really, really not expensive. Really not expensive. Yes, you can pay, I don't know, as little as
Yeah.
30 dollars, $25, right? So
Okay.
that's why people will take that. Yes. So unfortunately, that's why now you are doing that. But when it's the time of renewal, when you are 60, remember you are not 30 years old anymore. Now by the time of you are 60, guess what? Oh my goodness, the contribution will be way, way, way more higher than what you can ever imagine. Because
Okay.
they know it's the time where sickness come.
Yeah.
So
And
what's the
let's
best
speak.
insurance
Uh,
would you recommend for people looking to get insurance? Because for young folks, term insurance makes sense because it's what is cheap, it's what they can afford.
Mm,
Whole life insurance is a whole lot expensive and they
mm,
can afford it. So
mm.
what's the middle ground? What would you advise?
Okay. And again, unfortunately, I'm not a financial advisor, but I would just say to people that, why they sit, with the financial professional, they will dive more. We will dive more in the different types, and then we can see, even if they want to, they don't have a lot of money. And that's the misconception that we have, is that we always think that having also maybe something like index universal life will be way expensive. No, you might not have the opportunity to have a $1 million because you are still young, and then you are just working at a warehouse or at a restaurant. But then you can have a policy that is lower, right? By the time you graduate now, and maybe you have a better job and so on, now you can bring that up, yeah, and stuff. So those are different, cases that we have to see when during private sessions.
okay.
Can a term insurance be converted to a whole life insurance?
Say it again.
Can a term insurance be converted to a whole life insurance? Maybe
Yes,
later on when you can
yes,
afford it?
yes, it
Okay.
can. Mhm.
Okay. Why you on that term insurance, right? I think you had to call that, right? Had to even phrase that. You kind of set alarm bells in people. You set alarm bells there, right? That whole term insurance story you're talking about. Stefan is, asking, yeah, it's like, man, so does the insurance company even inform you that, hey, man, if you miss one payment, that stuff, do they let you know ahead of time? Do they even give you any kind of a heads up and things like that? That's one of those things. Say, hey, if you don't read the fine print, God bless you.
Thank you. Wow. Yes, most of the time, actually, yes, they will let you know. But then, like you mentioned, some of the things are in the fine print. But even when the person, or maybe you miss the payment, it's not like automatically, right? But and again, some people would be like, okay, then it's okay. So if I miss, they will let me know. But you don't know in the future which circumstance will happen, like, and that will make you miss the payment. I mentioned the lady who was sick, right? So during that time frame, because even when you have someone who is sick, me, I had maybe, some of my children get sick. At that moment, even though you who are by the bedside of that person, you are not really thinking about paying those things. So sometimes the insurance company will send you letters, but then we put that some places, right, just because we are so focused on what we are going through right now. Yes.
Okay. So we have so many questions where we'll go through a rapid fire, right? Just to because we want to give the audience the opportunity to have some questions. We'll go through some rapid fire here, right? Because we already gone past 1 hour. We don't want to take you here all night. But here's the first one, right? A financial advisor once told me it's better to save in your 401k than to invest in life insurance. What do you think? You as a finance professional, quick. What do you think?
Yes.
401k or life
Okay.
insurance? Which one?
Oh, Abe, I'm so sorry because it's not going to be that easy, right?
That's
It's not going to
simple.
be that
Okay.
easy, right?
It's
That's simple,
complicated.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. And I forgot the name of the person, but then about
Amanda.
that,
Amanda, yeah.
Amanda. Okay, Amanda, actually, you have to know something. There's something in America that we call management fees. Not all accounts have management fees, though, although almost all accounts have what we call administrative or maintenance fees, right? So management fees, and it's normal why it will say that. Um, there's a book, Amanda, that I will recommend for you and for those who are interested in knowing more about financial advisor. Not that I'm against them, but the book is say what your financial advisor is not telling you. I believe that's the name of the book. Yeah, what your financial advisor is not telling you is that most of the time they will ask you about 401k because that's how they get paid. So also, yes, from the management fees, those management fees can go up to 2% every year. So when you do the math, Amanda, right, you will find out that imagine that you open your 401k for 30 years. And then then you have to pay, for example, 2% in management fees every year. By the way, whether the market crashes or it doesn't, they get paid. So when the market crashes, guess what? You are losing money, but then they are getting paid.
Okay.
You see the thing? Yes. So that's why. And if you do the math, by 30 years, you will find out that you have given 60% of your own money to someone else, to a financial advisor, because he was managing a 401k for you. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Another one here from Amanda. Is it better to get life insurance through your employer or go private? I think I asked you this one earlier, but employer or
Yes.
private? Which one?
Okay.
Employer or private?
Amanda, go for private, but then sit down with the financial professional first, yes, to know which one, because even the private one, not all are equal.
Okay.
There are some who not offer you cash value things, or maybe it's not included. Like, for example, they will offer you cash value, but then you don't have any living benefit. And if your cash value is, for example, $50,000 that you have, but then you get cancer, for example, cancer will at some point you will have to spend more than 50K, right? So you do not, now you understand the importance of having also life insurance with living benefit. Which, by the way, the IUL gives that to you. It's all included in the IUL, cash value, living benefit, and those. And most of the time, the riders are even free, so they are really included in that.
Yeah. Well, folks, as I mentioned earlier, and I have been mentioning, it is a 1 hour show. I mean, it's like Miss Karelle here has a lot of great information, but we can't keep her all night. Maybe we'll do round two with her to come back and just continue this education. So we'll give our panelists their last question, and then we'll try to wrap this thing up. So, Miss Jerry, I will start with you. Jerry, I will start with you, and then we'll go to Miss B, and try to wrap things up. Jerry, any
So
questions? Yeah.
I know you've been mentioning you were different from a financial advisor. So where do you come in as a financial professional? Like, how do you help your clients?
Okay, so if first I said, like, I educate them, because most of the time financial advisor are really like, well, I would say, like, product specific. For example, I think it was Amanda who mentioned the 401k, right? So when it comes there, he will let you know about the benefit of 401k, okay, how is that work, and so on and so on. And most of the time, sometimes also they will work for a company which offering that 401k. So now, for me especially, I educate you on your checking, your saving account, your CD, certificate of deposit, your stocks, 401k, and all these accounts, annuities, life insurance, college fund also, and so on. So now, if in case you are interested, in, those, I can point you now to the companies, that I know that have that reputation, depending on the goal that you have. If, for example, someone wants, for annuities, I can direct them to, okay, this is some of the great companies on annuities. Yes, this is how you can
So
start, an
so
application
you're
for
not
you.
licensed to sell the insurance, you just give recommendations.
Say it again.
So are you licensed to sell the insurance or you just give recommendations?
Oh, I'm licensed. I'm licensed to do so too. Yes. So
So
if
do
the
you
person now,
charge?
because you mentioned about insurance, so if the person now wants insurance, of course we can start, application, which by the way is free. So for those who just want to see, because first of all you have to qualify, and that's one thing. Hey, please, just 1 minute. But
Oh,
people
go
will not
ahead, go
know that,
ahead, go ahead.
oh, life insurance, I will get it whenever I want. No, you cannot get it. The one I'm talking about, you can get term life insurance whenever you want. Yes,
So
group
what
life insurance
specific
is
insurance
almost
do you
automatic.
sell? Is it the
Say it again.
universal? What kind of insurance do you sell? What kind of life insurance do you sell?
Oh, no. By the way, I facilitate. So I don't sell because I'm not insurance company. So right, I like
Okay,
to,
which
yeah,
one do you
yeah, yeah.
facilitate?
But
Like which one
then, yes,
do
for
you
the
have?
one that
What
I
product do you
facilitate,
have?
yeah, index annuity. I'm sorry, not index annuity. I mean, like, are you well? If you want like a whole life as well, yes.
Okay.
So even the one that wants term life, yes, definitely we can have a talk to, because I told you I'm not selling. So those insurance company, they have all of them except, for example, group life, which is through your work, right? Yes.
Do you do
How do you
disability insurance as well, or just life insurance?
Say it again.
Do
do you
you
do
do
disability?
disability or just life?
Oh, you said disability? Oh, no, no, yeah, just life. Yes.
Okay.
No short-term or long-term disability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
How
no.
do you, as a
Because guess
consultant?
what, jury, I mean, and Miss B, because most of the time I told you that it's already like included, for example, in the IUL, for example, yes. So that's why, yeah, when you have a chronic
Comes with the
illness, the
disability
IUL
benefits.
companies is licensed, yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. So do you charge for your service like hourly or no?
No, no, I don't.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
How do you get compensated then? How do you get
Okay,
compensated? How
okay,
do you get
actually,
paid as a, yeah, yeah, I mean, as a consultant, how do you get compensated?
yeah, as a consultant, exactly. I get paid actually through the life insurance companies, right? With the companies that I work with, yes.
Mm.
So not through the clients, no, through the, yes, the insurance company.
Okay. Well, Jerry tried to ask the last question, and she asked you five different questions or six different
Yeah.
questions. So to tell you that
But then
she had
she
a
had
lot
to
of,
catch up, right? Because she
yeah,
didn't ask any
definitely,
question
yeah,
during
yeah.
the thing. So Jerry, good job.
Yeah. Anyway, Miss B, your last question. But before our folks like to seek clarification, right? We keep we keep bringing about this distinction, right? You are now a financial advisor. You're a licensed finance professional. So Stefan is asking you. So, do you consider yourself a financial planner?
Well, let's see. How can I say that? I would say I like to keep the thing with financial professional, because that's what
Mm.
really
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah,
to
yeah.
call myself. Yeah,
Okay,
not financial planner. Although I will do, of course, during the session we do some plannings, right? That you want, but yeah, I will not call myself that. Although we still do some planning for depending on the goals that the person has. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, Miss B, your last question or your comment for Miss
I
Karelle.
think I'm processing this. Let's just say I'm in the market for a car, and you, as a financial professional, you can give me access to multiple dealership instead of just selling me product from one dealership. The benefit of you is now you can give me access to multiple dealership, so I have a
Mhm.
better chance of getting the car with all the amenities and all the things that I want. Is that a good understanding of how you're represented in the market?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So you are with me. Yes, you have access to all of them. And because I'm independent, I'm not because those who work for these companies, for example, let's imagine then you come and then you are, I mean, you face an agent from Nationwide. Of course, what do you think he will say? He will tell you have, it's only about maybe, nation or this mutual company and so on. So it's only about them. They have the greatest product and so on. But because I'm independent, I'm able to be neutral and to let you know, okay, with this your case, because I told you earlier, it's not everyone who can qualify for life insurance. By the way, I'm talking about the one with living benefit. Because if you have pre-existing condition, for people who have already pre-existing conditions, some people have maybe, I don't know, high blood pressure, people had cancer before and so on. Actually, you will probably not qualify to have, for example, the cash value life insurance with living benefit. So yes, so I give you access with all these different companies.
Okay. Was that a last question, Miss B?
Yes, that was.
I mean, the thing about it, if they are denying force of high blood pressure, that's a common thing in our community, though. That is that because I mean, as soon as you go to the hospital, you have so many people they just put it on, they just put it on blood pressure medication. But anyway, that's a whole different, that's a whole nother
Abe,
topic.
but Abe, actually, that's why I
That's
say
a
to people
whole
that
nother
the
topic.
time,
So yeah,
that the time to protect yourself was yesterday. That's why I say to people, the time to protect yourself when you was yesterday. When we are talking, having this conversation, actually, it's kind of late, you see. But no,
right.
I'm not late in the sense that all hope is lost. But really, compared to what we were supposed to do, or having even the best rate, the best coverage, and so on, sometimes it's already past. So some people will just have to be accepted. There will be cash value, but then they are declined, maybe the living benefit because of the condition and so on. But it again is by case. So there's no like one size fits all. Yeah, people
Okay.
just have to see it.
So before you go tonight, right? It's been a great conversation. It's been a great discussion, right? What's the message you want to leave our audience tonight in terms of everything you have discussed, right? What's the one golden rule? How can they protect themselves? How can they build a strong foundation? How can they, you know, learn about the different financial products, life insurance, and things like that, right? What's the message you want to leave with the folks tonight who have been listening to you and learning a lot?
Okay, yes. Wow. It was really a great conversation, and thank you so much again for the invitation. I want to say to everyone here, just make sure really that you understand the financial system in which you are. Guys, we are sacrificing too much to not be able really to build, to build an empire and leave a strong legacy to our children, to the future generation. We are sacrificing too much. Even the fact of leaving, the country, the continent to come here and then building this is already a lot that we are doing. So let's make sure that we understand how money works in America, how actually the different accounts that we have work, how we can take advantage of those. And by the way, if anyone also, interested, for example, I offer free masterclass on these topics, free masterclass. And if people wants to go through the process of getting licensed so that they do have the same license that I have, I also actually give them free training for that. So because for me, I'm really in the mission of building the leaders of for this generation and the generation to come. Yes, so it's really about, guys,
So
we
you,
need to learn these things.
So you want to build black wealth. You want to build generational wealth. You want to empower our community. How can they get hold of you? Is it to I mean, do you care to share your phone number or your contact information? Do you care?
Oh yes, yes, please.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the email will be a little bit tricky, but the email for those who are writing down, I don't know if we'll post there somewhere, but it's the first name, Karelle, and
Hmm.
then after that is DA, so D as in Delta,
Okay.
A as in Alpha, C as in Charlie, H as in Henry, E as in Europe or Echo, U as in uniform at gmail.com.
Okay. So that's the email. Can you repeat that again for folks listening? Can you just one more time?
Okay, Karelle, like my first name,
Yeah.
Karelle, and
Hmm.
then DACHEU at gmail.com. Now, my phone number is 940
940
220
220 06 71. Okay. One more time.
Yes.
One more time.
940
Mhm.
220
Mhm.
0671.
Okay. Well, folks, that's Miss Karelle information. She shared her email and she shared her phone number. If you want to reach out to her, please do, right? She can even educate you to be like her, right? She can educate you to be like her. Like the one thing in our African community, I'm very proud of that, right? Sometimes we don't like to share information, right? We don't like to empower each other. And the fact that you have the grace to do that, kudos to you. We really appreciate you. Thanks so
Oh,
much
thank
for
you.
appearing tonight. It's been a great discussion. I think we'll have you on here for part two because you mentioned full life insurance products and we only went through two. I want to know
Yes.
about the other two, and I want to learn more about that cash value one. That cash value one
Okay.
is like my interest is there, so I want to learn more. And I know a lot of folks want to learn about it. So thanks so much, Miss Karelle, for coming on tonight. We hope you have a good night, and thanks so much for listening. This is our business segment every Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to our panelist, Miss B. Thanks, Jerry, for playing dual role, taking your kids, to wherever you took them, and then coming and contributing to the show. So thanks so much, folks, and you all have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
In a Circle podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as
Okay, you want to talk?
It says we're still live.